Before we start this podcast, I want to definitely remind you of a sponsor for Fresh of the Word, 20 by 20 Apparel. Founded in 2015, 20 by 20 Apparel brings original tributes to pro wrestling's classic arenas, moments, and events. They look to spotlight the bloopers, bleeps, and body slams along with the biggest, smallest, strangest, and strongest. In the world of wrestling where there's hundreds of shirts, promotions, flyers, social media accounts, and ads, don't get lost in the sea of parody shirts and display fonts. They can provide professional graphic design services at a reasonable price. 20 by 20 also hand screen prints all the tees in-house. So if you'd like to discuss a possible run of tees, posters, koozies, foam fingers, or even Zubaz, then drop them a line at 20by20apparel.com. That's the number 20x, the number 20apparel.com. And also check out their enamel pin line. It's super cool.
Fresh is the word.
I'm Jim Duggan, got long wood for plenty hoes. I keep it fresher than fresh, but you already know. You suckers bummy, I'm money, I got a ton of flows. My weed loud like a motherfucking thunder roll. Your shit quiet like you ballin' on a budget though. We see your kicks and we laugh and yellin' what it goes. You see me shining like a suit on puffy. You know my grindin' shit is too strong, buddy. That's why the dude call money. I be stuntin' like it's nothing at all. Cause it's nothing to me, it's probably something to y'all. Trying to smoke like me, then come and fuck with your dog. Got a closet full of kicks, you can't cop it tomorrow. And I'm fresher than the freshest, you can tell it's in my essence. Bitch, you see the way I'm rapping, yes I do this shit to death. I tell I'm running out of breath, I tell somebody cut a check. But either way you know it's fresh, but either way you know it's fresh. Fresh, we fresh. Fresh, 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 goddammit, we fresh. Fresh, fresh, goddammit, we so damn fresh.
All right, welcome to the Fresh of the Word podcast. I'm your host, Kelly K. Fresh Frazier. And like always, we have the freshest of guests for you. And the guest for this episode is Melissa Bonny, vocalist of the symphonic metal band Ad Infinitum, who just released their debut album, Chapter 1 Monarchy, on April 3rd via Napalm Records. Melissa is also the lead singer of the trance metal band Rage of Light. And most importantly, we share the same birthday on January 23rd. How you doing?
Oh my God, amazing. This is good. Oh, I'm great. How about you?
I'm good. We're a couple Aquariusts. So, I remember first hearing of your band, like probably after the first single that you put out a little while back. I was just kind of perusing like YouTube or something, and I think it eventually like got around to that, and I was like, oh, this is a cool band, you know. And
Thank you.
And then when I got sent over in advance of the debut album, I was like, oh, I remember this band. And I listened to the new album, and I was like, yo, I like this. Yeah, this is a really good album, and I'm very impressed.
Well, thank you so much. I'm glad that you like it.
Right. It's like, so you were born in Switzerland. Do you still live in Switzerland?
No, I live in Denmark now, but yes, I'm born in Switzerland, in the French-speaking part.
Oh, okay. All right. So how long did you live in Switzerland?
Basically until 7 months ago. So for 26 years, I lived in Switzerland.
Oh, okay. All right. So how was it like, living, growing up in Switzerland? You know, what was sort of, what was your childhood like? You know, what kind of a kid were you?
Oh, I grew up in the countryside, so I was a lot outside playing with my bike, rollerblades, in the forest, in the fields.
Oh, nice.
It was a cool childhood. I grew up with my parents, brother, and grandmother, and I started music when I was really little. Actually, when I was 6, I was sharing my hobbies between my free time between music, gymnastic, and drawing.
Oh, okay. So you had all these different things. Yeah, so you had all these different things that you were doing as a kid. Yeah, it's funny. Like a lot of people, maybe especially here, like in the states, we're all like, we get kind of invigorated by the big city and stuff first, but then like now as we get older, like people who kind of grew up on the countryside and stuff like that with all that space, we're like, you know what, we kind of envy you.
Yeah, I'm very I feel very lucky, and I'm very grateful for the childhood I had, because if one day I have some kids, I would like to offer them the same.
So so with you say you grow up and you hated all these different things between music and gymnastics and art, sort of when did you first sort of get that music bug? Like what was some of the things that you were doing at that time?
You mean when I was a kid?
Yes.
I was singing in a choir when I was 6, and until a couple of years after, I was in the school choir. So very heavy metal, as you can imagine. and and then I stopped because it wasn't really my thing, and I started to, yeah, to first I was doing some parodies or covers, and then I learned to play the guitar, and I continued doing covers and playing in the, we have this show every year at the school where you could present any talent you had. So I was trying to do my best at the guitar and sing at the same time. And then when I was, I think, 18, I started to get into metal, and in 2012 I joined my first metal band.
What was it that got you into heavy metal?
I met a boy back then, and
It's always a boy. Hey, it's always a
always a
boy.
boy. And he introduced me Nightwish,
Okay.
Camelot, Delane, Stream of Passion, um, yeah, a lot of symphonic or power metal bands, and I started to really like it. It's funny because when I was 15, 16, there's a friend of mine who sent me a Slipknot song, and I was like, oh, this is not even music, this is horrible, I cannot get what he's saying. And then I started by listening to metal with symphonic metal and power metal, and now you usually start with something soft, and then go to the dark side, like
Yeah.
step by step. And now I love Slipknot. I absolutely love it. And I still remember the day when I was saying, "This is not music."
No, that's understandable. Like there's always, and I think this is something that's really cool about metal is that there, you got to find your sort of entry point with that.
Exactly.
And
Yeah, exactly.
but then once you do that and kind of understand it from that entry point, then you can kind of go down that rabbit hole to all these different sort of flavors of metal, and something like a Slipknot might not sound like music if you first that's your first entry point into metal, but then after you go and
Yeah.
listen to all this other stuff, you understand Slipknot a lot more.
Of course, and when you start to listen to harsh vocals, at first it takes you a little bit of time to adapt your ears to get the lyrics, but now it's no problem anymore.
I think I was like the opposite of you. I kind of got into metal like through like certain harsh vocal stuff
Okay.
and things like that. But then now I'm really into like a lot of the symphonic metal stuff because I didn't really like that at first. Like even as a little kid, if there was stuff that was anything like symphonic, I was like, oh, this is kind of corny, man. Oh, dude. Like what's this? This is corny. But now like I kind of get it now that I've like went through and kind of had my discovery of all sorts of different metal. Like this was like the
Yeah.
next thing that I kind of dig. So now I'm liking some of these bands. Like I like your band. I like a band like Delane. Stuff like that. Where I'm just like, oh, this is kind of cool, man. I like this. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, I really like them as well. Delane has definitely been an inspiration for me.
Yeah, their new album is so good. I just bought like I just went and had just a whole order of stuff from Napalm, which I actually have your CD in my hand now because I bought it online.
Oh,
So,
This is a funny story, by the way. Oh, I let you finish and then I tell you the story.
but I was just saying that, like, yeah, I bought that CD, then I bought the record for Delane and a few others. Like, the funny thing is like all the bands that I bought were all led by women vocalists. And like
Yeah,
I almost didn't realize it at the time, like until I got the package, and I was like, oh wait a minute, I bought all these. Oh, okay. I mean, well, I know that, like, for me, that's like that's just a taste. I like, women vocalists, but I didn't realize this time that I did that.
it's funny because because of the coronavirus stuff, we had to ship all the crowd. We did the crowdfunding, and now is the time to send all the merchandising, the CDs, and everything to the people. And we were at first supposed to gather all in Austria before the tour, but the tour got canceled. So obviously we all stayed at home, but the CDs still got delivered in Austria. So by the time I got them in Denmark, it was, I think, the same day as when people got it at home from the pre-orders from Napalm Records. So I was like, there was someone writing me, hey, I just got your album. And I was like, hey, I just got my album.
Right. And I know how people, how people feel when they, they do the crowdfunding, and they kind of want to get their stuff earlier before everybody else. And but unfortunately, there are circumstances that, I bet people understood.
Yeah, I think they're understood because we sent a couple of messages to explain everything. For example, the borders are closed now, so obviously there are some live experiences that we were simply not able to do right now. But people are very understanding, and actually it was already a lot of job to prepare all the packages by ourselves, especially because some people were supposed to get their packages at the shows, and because of the virus we had to prepare much more, and because of this and because of the shipment from one country to another, it took a lot of time. So in the end we're still sending the packages, but people are super nice with us.
Yeah, that's all you got to be these days is understanding, because this is something that you just can't get around. So if you're being a jerk about it, then you're just a jerk.
Yeah.
But getting into the album, Monarchy Chapter 1, it's like, or Chapter 1 Monarchy, like, even looking at the the visuals, you're like, this is kind of very, very timely though with what's going on with this virus. So how do you feel about that? That's something you didn't plan, and it just happens.
Of course, at first, I was feeling like, oh, people are gonna think that it's a very bad joke. But I think there's only a couple of people who mentioned it under some videos on YouTube, but it's completely fine. But, we actually, when the whole thing happened, we were like, oh, shit, people are going to trash us because we have those masks during the Corona time, and this is not funny. There's some things that it's too early for jokes. This is exactly the right example. But no, actually, people were more like, joking about it, but not even that much. There are some funny comments on YouTube saying, oh, they seem prepared for Corona.
Exactly.
This is perfect. It's perfect. But we don't want to overdo it, because then it's just using it for promotion, and this is not the right way to do it.
Nah, people are gonna understand. And the thing is, with in regards to our situation, you gotta have that. It's a serious thing. It's a super serious thing, and everybody should follow the guidelines to be able to, flatten the curve and be able to get past this. But at the same time, we got to have a sense of humor about it. And just by, the look of everything, if you read the story, the story about the band and everything, that this is like a thing that is just a part of the story and the image of the band. There's a story behind it. So it's just like, you can't be mad at you for what this looks like, because it's not poking fun at the current situation. But if there's a little bit of sense of humor that you can get out of it, then cool. we need sense of humor at this time.
Yeah, actually we saw a meme like 2 days ago. Someone took one of our band pictures, and I have my hand in front of me, like open, palm up, and someone put a hand sanitizer on it. It's just so good.
See, yeah, you gotta have a sense of humor at this time,
Yeah.
or or we're all gonna go crazy, It's already very pent up, having to stay in our homes and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
a sense of humor is, they say laughter is the best medicine, and that's true. We gotta have a little sense of humor
Yeah.
about all of this. You know,
Yeah, and we need it right now. It's actually very tragic what happened, especially, I mean, for a lot of people, but for the musicians, it just ruins one entire year of promotion, especially for the people who are releasing an album. For us, we've not been able to go on tour, and our promotion of release was based on that tour, going out there, playing for people, to getting the chance to grow our fan base, and
right.
to yeah, that people discover us through the live shows and through the streamings and through everything, the music videos. We prepared a whole package of promotion, and there's just this tour which was very important, which is gone. So if you don't have a little bit of humor and the capacity to find a plan B, and to stay, chin up and smiling, then you're just hurting yourself, I think.
Yeah, and with all the people that are kind of like out of work and not be able to go through with their plans, like we don't know how long this really is going to last, so
This
people.
is the big problem and the big question. You don't, we have a new tour now scheduled in September, October, and I'm really hoping that
Right.
everything will go back to normal by then, because I'm very optimistic. But what if it doesn't?
Yeah, it's still, you're like, can we still do that? Even though all the way up in September, you're like, are we still going to be able to make this thing happen? But
Yeah.
so just gotta stay optimistic. And like, what are you doing in the meantime? What's the plan B for you guys, just to sort of promote the album and keep everything sort of lively for this new album?
We will do as much promotion as possible online. We're lucky enough to live in the era of digital promotion and streaming and everything. So if we can still share our music as much as possible, and if people understand that it's also important, that they can play a very important part in it, just sharing it, talking about us, and playing it, adding our songs to their, I don't know, workout playlist. Everything, every small thing can help. So, and so far people have been very, very helpful with us. They've been part of the whole process from the beginning, from
Yes.
the crowdfunding till the promotion, sharing our videos a lot. And this has really helped a lot, a lot. And I mean, we have to use all the tools we have, the social media, our websites, the streaming platforms, and do the best we can, and prepare some, for example, we had this release party on Friday. We were at least we were originally supposed to play in Germany, and obviously it was not possible anymore. But we did an online release party with the help of Napalm Records, who are very, very helpful in these times. The whole album was streamed, and then we had this online party where the four band members were live on YouTube, and there was a lot of people joining, and we had
Okay.
a glass, and we had a party, and it was really nice. So you have to adapt to your time, I guess.
Oh yeah, definitely. I missed out on the crowdsourcing, or the crowdfunding for this album. How successful was it? What did you offer as part of the that crowdfunding?
We offered, actually, this is a really good question, because we offered a lot of perks, different perks, and we thought, okay, we have to make something very interesting for the people. So there was the first one, which was just a digital album and the name in the credits. Then you had the physical album plus the name in the credits. Then you had the T-shirt and whatever. And there were a few packages like this, and there was one of the packages which was wooden box with a poster, card, CD, handmade bracelets,
Oh, okay.
T-shirts, and some nice things. But it was a little bit more expensive, so I thought, yeah, this is gonna be like a couple of people taking it. And actually, there was 70 people taking it. So Nick, our drummer, had to create 70 wooden boxes.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? I mean, we bought the boxes, but he had to carve at infinitum in each box, on each box, and then to paint them.
Okay.
And I had to create 70 bracelets. So it was like, we're super happy that it was successful, but on the other hand, it was like, wow, this is the box factory.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have.
Yeah, it is.
So what was the goal of the campaign, and how much did you actually end up getting in this campaign?
Yeah, I mean, we were not hoping for as much as we got. We got 150% of what we were expecting.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, it shows that like you have a really really cool fan base. And I really think, just for the limited time that I've known about the band, is that everything that I see from the band, just the visuals and everything, is very, very high quality, very interesting. It doesn't look cheap and cheesy at all. So just from my standpoint, it's just like, yo, like, look at this band. I'm gonna at least listen to it, and see, and then the music, holds up behind all of this great visuals. So, it's cool that you guys have a really good fan base already.
Yeah, and we try to offer a complete package of something professional, because the thing is, especially when you're signed to people like Newcomer, the fans expect you to deliver something similar to bands who've been around for much longer.
Of course.
And this is very hard because obviously we don't have the same budget, we don't have the same experience. So for this, I observe a lot what other bands are doing, bigger bands are doing, the way they promote themselves, because I feel like we have to match what they're doing,
of course,
even with less resources.
Yeah, of course. What are some things that you've learned from bigger bands? For example, the way the websites should look, the way the social media should be presented, how often you should share some content, what kind of content the people want to see, what kind of content is successful, what kind of content is not interesting for the people, what will make people react, what will make people happy, what they want to know about what happens behind the scenes, and also on the live point of view, or everything that happens around the release. Everything is good to know. The way you have to manage a band, the way you have to put yourself out there. I mean, I could go on with the list for a long time. No, there's a lot of things, but it's good that you're paying attention to what other bands are doing, because always be a student, in this, because there's always something that you could learn.
Of course.
And it's cool that you're doing things sort of DIY, like especially with the campaign that you guys did, where you're making stuff, making these boxes, making the jewelry that were part of the packages. So it's always cool to find stuff like that that's a little bit different than everything else, or that what the record company is doing and stuff like that. It gives that personal touch.
Yeah, I really like it, when we're close to the people who support us, because I feel like they deserve it. The people who've been supporting us from the beginning, the people who allowed us to have a great CD, because without the crowdfunding, we wouldn't have been able to afford a great production like we have. So I really feel like, okay, the best way to thank them is to do something personal, and to also reply to their messages and to be true, because that's the best way to thank people, I think.
What are some of the common things that your fans say to you?
Regarding what?
Regarding to the music, or whatever the music means to them, what they like about the band. What are some things that they like to talk to you about?
One thing that really caught my attention is one day we did a thank you video, because we had just released Marching on Versailles, and a couple of days later there was already 100,000 views. And so we did the video like very simple selfie mode, and just thank you everybody. And we were not all together. So I did my video, Nick did his video, Adrian and Jonas the same. And we together and put it out there. And people were like, oh, this is great, because there's not a lot of bands who take the time to show that they're grateful and in a humble way like this. So I remember this very well, and I think it touched me, because I felt like we were doing something great here. And regarding the music, I mean, people are super happy about the album, so it makes me very happy as well.
When you were sort of coming up as a excuse me, when you were coming up as a music artist, was there any bands, any artists that you met that sort of had that similar, like, thankfulness to them, that thankful vibe to them that kind of stuck with you all these years?
Yeah, I think, for example, Within Temptation is a band that is really closed and very nice and humble and very reachable.
Yeah.
I really like these guys, super kind. It's hard to give you examples right now, because I didn't meet a lot of bands as a fan, because usually I was going to the shows and not really going to meet and greets. But yeah, I remember Within Temptation being very, very kind. And also I felt this, I never met her face to face, but I felt like, for example, Floriansen is someone who is immensely talented and so inspiring. And when you see the way she talks to the fans and talks to the people, you're just like, oh my God. And on the top of it, she's a sweetheart.
Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. Before, going into making this album, what was sort of the mind state of yourself along with the rest of the band on what you wanted to make this album become?
So it's interesting, because the writing process started without the rest of the band, and they joined during the process.
Yeah.
I was working first with Oliver Phillips. I was writing demos, and then he was helping me with them, because I'm not a guitar player, I'm not a drummer, so the way I write drums would make drummers cry. But so he helped me, and let's say, yeah, first we recorded 2 songs together, and then I did the crowdfunding campaign, and afterwards I got in touch with Nick and Jonas, and Nick brought Adrian, and then we continued together. And the aim was just to, we had now a budget, a pretty good budget from the crowdfunding campaign, and we thought, okay, we're gonna make the best out of it, the best possible album, so that we're very proud, and something that we really like, that we enjoy playing on stage, something with a lot of energy, that is both nice to listen at home or to listen at a concert.
So, you get this budget through the the crowdfunding, and it gives you some resources to make this album really good, to do what you want to do. What were some of the things that you made sure you got done to be able to make this to be the product that you have in your, maybe even better than the product that you have in your mind?
Well, with Oliver Phillips doing the orchestrations and the being the producer, with Nick, Adrian, and Jonas on board, and then with Jacob Hansen doing the mix and master, I think we had kind of a dream team to make it work. And then I already knew that I wanted to work with Ralph Leitner for the videos, because I've seen what he's done before, and he's just brilliant. And I knew I really wanted to have good music and good videos, and like you mentioned, to have everything looking professional so that people are um, that they are interested in hearing when they see, if it makes sense, when they see the pictures, when they see the videos, they are like, oh, I want to hear what the band is doing. Also, when we had this photo shoot with Natalia in Madrid, I had seen her work with Camelot or with Cobra and the Lotus, and I was like, I really want one day to have pictures from her. And since Adrian, Jonas, Nick, and I live in 3 different countries, we had to fly somewhere. So I thought, okay, let's fly to Madrid and let's have pictures done by her, because she's brilliant and she's the kindest person. And so we made sure to have all the aspects looking and sounding good.
Yeah, because I'm looking at the CD right now, and it's just like, you look. This looks like a CD for like a band that's a veteran band who's been around for a while and who's really solidified their place in heavy metal, and it just like, yo, this looks great. I love it. It's really nice looking. All the pictures, the graphic design, everything. It looks great.
Thank you.
Okay, like with Oliver Phillips producing the record, what did he sort of bring to the table in regards to making this album?
Well, the first thing I would like to mention, because this is the biggest part of what he did, and the thing that I love the most is he did brilliant orchestrations. It's just magical the way he created this. You have the heaviness of metal, and you have this whole dimension of orchestrations, which are just, I think, a little bit magic and epic at the same time. Yeah. And it can be fragile, but it can be powerful. And he's brilliant at doing this. And besides this, he was also, we're 4 young musicians, and we relied on his opinion when he was saying, for example, I don't know, when we came with demos, and he said, yeah, perhaps you should not, the song is great, but this part is not very useful to the song, or whatever, some advice that, we were doing the job of writing the songs, but he had some very precise ideas of what can work and what cannot work. Yeah. So with someone with more experience, it's always you feel more secure about what you're doing.
Yeah, it sounds like really good. Like he put his little spice on the end of it, Yeah. And like you're able to do your thing and make these songs, but then he was like, "Yo, let's do it this way and everything." How was it working with him? Well, like, what was sort of like the back and forth? What was there any sort of times when there was conflict, or was it pretty easy going?
No, it was easy going, and the really. What was really a big relief for me and also rewarding was that if you compare the demos that I did, or that any of the band members did, and the final result, it's not like he said, okay, we cut this, we put this here, we create this, we do this, and we change this, and it was still very much like the original idea we had. And it feels good because you feel like, okay, I can write songs. And even a producer like him will not tell me, okay, this sounds like shit,
Right. He did the positive reinforcement, being like, yo, this is good, but like, let's try it this way and then see how it ends up,
Yeah, for example, the thing I really loved to do with him is I recorded my vocals with him, and the way I would write harmonies is a little bit more basic than the way he does, because he will not think, okay, let's do the third, but let's do completely different melodies that would dance between your voice and the violin and the cello and whatever, and it will just fall perfectly into place. Yeah. So this is very nice.
And see, that's what
Go ahead. It worked like this. I would, for example, I would write a demo, like program the drums, program the guitars, bass, and some orchestrations, and then record my vocals in my vocal booth, and then kind of mix roughly and to give him an idea, and then send everything to him. And he's a great guitar player, so the guitar that I would program, he would replay it to make it sound like a real guitar and not just like some random Logic sounds, because I use Logic. So
Right.
and then rewrite the drums, because the way I write it is more like, okay, I want this rhythm, I want this kind of drum fill or whatever, and then he would write it in a better way. Or if some things were not working with the guitars, he would rewrite it,
Yeah, that was the thing that that was the thing that I really noticed about this album. What I liked about it was your vocal melodies. They were very, they're very beautiful, very catchy, and they went with the music so well. And like that's what really grabbed me in regards to this album.
Oh, thank you so much. I really loved doing this because it was the first time I could, with my previous bands, we were sharing the songwriting, or I was arriving at the end of the process when the musical, the instrumental effect was already done. And for this, for Ad Infinitum, I was able to write from the beginning, and it allowed me much more freedom. So I explored much more in every kind of dimension I could go. I don't know if it makes sense the way I say it. Sometimes my English is not the
Oh
best,
no, it sounded perfectly.
but,
I understand what you're saying.
Okay. All right. Good.
But having that sort of freedom with this band, how satisfying is that?
It's great. It's so great because I have a lot of ideas and I want to try everything. So there's a lot of vocalists that I love and that I want to not copy, but there's techniques that I learned from them that I want to apply to my own music. And this is not only metal vocalists. For example, I love Ariana Grande or Demi Lovato, and they go in some directions that I love, and you have some different intensities. You have some very soft things. You have some very powerful things, and this is something you can hear in our album. You have, for example, you take the song "Tell Me Why" and you have some very fragile vocals, and then you take "See You in Hell" and there's some powerful high notes, and I really tried a lot of things, and I love it, and I will go even crazier for the next record.
and that's cool that you're exploring so much, by yourself on this record. Like with going in all those directions, having those sort of little bits of influences going around, when making this album and working with Oliver in regards to that. How did he sort of rein all those influences in to make it sound good?
I think it took place pretty easily because, for example, I remember writing the song "See You in Hell," and the melodies and the lyrics were created together at the same time, and while developing them, I was also developing the instrumental part of the song, and it's a process that's how to explain. Everything just came naturally together, and I think it doesn't matter which kind of influence you have, as long as you know how to adapt it into what you're doing.
You were just mentioning about demoing your own music. What sort of equipment do you use? What are some things that you're that you've learned? What sort of instruments do you know how to play, or software do you know how to use? What's your usual demo process?
The usual demo process is I work with Logic on my computer, and I work with how's it called? It's a vocal booth, but Isovox. It's a really funny vocal booth because it's portable, and you can put it in an apartment without taking a lot of space. There's basically just your head inside a box.
Oh, okay.
And it's very
Nice.
cool
Okay.
because I connect it to my computer, and I write. I go back and forth. I put my head inside the box. I think something, and then I go to the computer, and I don't know. I adapt the drums and whatever. But I work on Logic, and I program the drums, the orchestrations, the guitars, and but obviously it sounds very crappy because it's like it's samples, but not very good samples. It's the basic ones that you get with the program. It's not a bank of sounds. It's yeah. So it's just to give an idea of what I have in my head
Yeah.
to the person who will play the instruments. The only thing that is well recorded is my voice, and I work with this ISO box and a microphone and a sound card. Basic material.
But at least you're able to get the idea down.
Yeah, this is good.
So, you're also a part of this other band called Rage of Light. What's going on with that band?
Yeah, it's we released an album last year, so now it's a little bit calmer, and this is great because I would not have been able to manage 2 releases the same year. This is so much work around the release, especially when you have to do it on your own. You don't have it. I mean, we have of course, the people from Napalm Records helping us a lot, and it's very nice to work with them. But we don't have a manager, we don't have a social media manager, we don't have a graphic designer or whatever. So you're basically doing everything yourself. So it's great that you have only 1 release per year to manage. And it's very different, like you said before. It's a very different genre, and it's nice to be able to sing something completely different as well.
When you first started like really taking music seriously, do you remember like the first moment? Whether it was somebody that you met or an event that happened or something that really hit you like, yo, this could be something I could be doing for a long time? Or was that first sort of holy shit moment?
Yeah, that was a holy shit moment. Actually, I went to Hellfest. I think it was I don't remember when it was actually. Perhaps 4 years ago. I'm not sure. I have a very bad
Whatever.
Time.
It was years ago. It was years ago.
I went to Hellfest, and when I came back, I was like, that was the first moment when I thought, okay, because of my job, I might not be able to do it. And I really started to, to think about, okay, do I want to continue in an office, or do I want to find some more freedom to do it, just to not only go to Hellfest as a how do you say, being part of the audience, but also playing on stage.
Yeah.
And so there was this moment where I was really depressed when I came back to work. And then there was a second moment that really convinced me. Is the first time I went on tour, I was playing with my first band. And when I came back, I was like, oh my God, I don't want to work here anymore. I want to do music. And the worst thing was I had some proposals to go on tour, some offers, but I had to ask for the permission to do it. So I was like, okay, I'm earning money and I'm having security, but I'm earning money for some hobby that I have to ask the permission for. And I'm not even sure that I can do it because, you have to ask for vacation. You have to have enough vacation. You have to have a replacement. It should not be a busy period because otherwise they will say no. And I was like, no, this is not the way I want it to be. And when I'm 60, 70 or 80, hopefully, how do I want to look back to my life? Do I want to realize, okay, I've been working for for all these years in something I don't like that prevents me from doing something I liked? Or do I want to just give it a shot and lose, let's say, the security and be happy? And how do you want to spend your one time on earth? And that was really the holy shit moment. And I decided, okay, I'm just gonna quit my job.
Yep, that's a tale as old as time. Do you want to
Yeah.
stay with that job that's giving you security, or do you want to pursue your art?
Yeah. I mean, it's inspired the song "Live Before You Die," which is on the album.
Yeah, yeah, that's something that a lot of us struggle with, and
Yeah.
yeah, well, while we wind down this interview, I do definitely want to say that on this new album, my favorite song is "Live Before You Die."
Nice.
I love the vocal melodies on that. It's so super catchy and so beautiful. Kind of talk about that record.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, talk about making that record.
Oh, sorry, I didn't get it. Um, well, I remember I wanted to have a happy song, a party song, and also something, joyful and giving a positive message to people. And I had this experience that I just mentioned, and I was like, okay, I want to find a. Before I started with the drums, and I was like, okay, I want a rhythm. Um, that makes people jump or dance or something like this, something when you play it on a in a festival, people are starting to party.
Yeah.
And then from this rhythm, I think I wrote some vocal melodies, and then the lyrics came last, I think.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. Like when I listen to that song, like in my apartment while I'm here in quarantine, I definitely start dancing around my apartment.
That's great.
I
Let's
love I
accomplish.
love this. I love that song. And I'll say this. I'm just gonna. I'm not blowing smoke up your butt. But when I first got the link to the album, the advanced stream of the album, I listened to this whole album multiple times in a row. Multiple times in a
Oh,
row
thank you.
because it was such a good album to listen to, and it's a good album to be like just doing other stuff. Like it's a good album to be doing other stuff like around the apartment too. So I'm really I really congrats on this album. It's a great debut album for your band, for this band that was pretty much this thing that started off as a solo effort for you, something that gave you a lot more freedom. So I
Mhm.
definitely congratulate you on this album. It's a good album.
Thank you very much.
And before we get out of here, I always like to ask this question of people: what's sort of a nugget of knowledge from your life and career that anybody listening to this, it doesn't matter what sort of avenue of artistry that they're in, could sort of project into their own life?
I didn't get the question.
Um, what's sort of like a lesson from your life and career
Oh,
that anybody listening to this interview, doesn't matter what sort of avenue of artistry or career that they're in, could sort of project into their own life?
I definitely um, make sure that the one time you spend on Earth is worth it and worth what you believe in and what you want to do and what represents you.
Perfect. It's a perfect way to end this. So it's been great talking with you, Melissa. And before we get out here, please remind everybody to where they can go online to get more information about the band and where they can pick up the album.
Well, we have our website www.atinfinitumofficial.com, and you have some links there. But you can also go to the Napalm Records website on the shop or the label websites to get some information or to get some merchandising that we have there.
Hey yo, thank you for listening to this episode of Fresh is the Word, hosted and produced by myself, Kelly K. Fresh Frazier, empowered by Anchor at anchor.fm/Fresh is the Word. Intro theme music by Foulmouth, Shimmy Bango, and Knox Money. Fresh is the Word is available on all major streaming platforms. Please rate and review on Apple Podcasts and Stitcher. If you want to support Fresh is the Word, please consider pledging via Patreon at patreon.com/freshistheword. Follow Fresh is the Word on social media on Twitter at Fresh is the Pod, on Instagram at Fresh is the Word Podcast, and join the Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/Fresh is the Word. For more information about Fresh is the Word and our other podcasts, Breaking Records and Renaissance Soul, and a collection of pop culture articles and reviews, please visit freshisthepodcast.com. Thank you for listening and your support. Goodbye and good night.
Fresh is the word.